How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store is wrapping up its August savings sale. We've covered it quite in depth with a lot of different deals videos, so check the ones we've already uploaded. Gonna look at deals under $10 again. We already did a video probably a week ago looking at deals under $10, a week and a half ago or so, but there's so many that here's another video. We've got about 10 games to go over, so let's get right into it. And let's start things off with Burnout Paradise Remastered, 70% off for $5.99. Look, I recommend this game all the time, and for good reason, because I think it's an excellent arcade racer. You've got a decently sized world to explore as well, a lot of content, billboards to destroy, events to clear, everything like that, and all of that to boot. You've got an excellent soundtrack, a little bit of a throwback with a lot of the music. Bear in mind that this game came out in January of 2008, so the soundtrack was fitting for the time, but you've got songs like My Curse by Killswitch Engage, which is definitely a solid one, and yeah, just good tracks all around. So Burnout Paradise Remastered, $5.99 I think is a great price. It is available with EA Play, but once you guys don't have that, $6 for it I think is a really solid pickup. Next up, we have Kingdom Come Deliverance, $5.99 on this, 80% off, which is a sizable discount. Now, this isn't the Royal Edition, which includes the bonus content. If you want to wait for that to go on sale, I've seen that on sale as low as like $7.99 or $9.99, and that might be advantageous for you to do. KCD was also at one point available on PlayStation Plus Extra. Unfortunately, it got pulled, one of those titles. But it's a really solid RPG with a historical backdrop to it, and I think if the setting is something that you like and the vibe of the game, if you like this kind of style, I think you'll end up enjoying it. It is leaning more on the realistic aspects of the game, so just keep that in mind. It's not really, you know, an over-the-top action RPG or anything like that, but $5.99 I think is a pretty good price, and I would say is a solid pickup. Next up, we have Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year celebration, 80% off for $5.99. Look, I praise this game like all the time. It's available on Plus Extra, but it's a game that should be in your library. I do recommend you to play the Tomb Raider games sequentially, so play Tomb Raider 2013, then ROTR, then SOTR, but if you had to pick one, Rise of the Tomb Raider, in my opinion, is the best game. It expands upon Tomb Raider 2013, adding more content. The story is still pretty decent, and the gameplay is improved as well. I just think it's a really, really well-made game, and I think, honestly speaking, you always hear the comparisons of Tomb Raider and Uncharted, and I think Rise of the Tomb Raider is on par with some of the best Uncharted games. Maybe that's a hot take, maybe some of you guys are gonna pull out the pitchforks for that take, but I think ROTR is just excellent, and for this price of $6, I think it's great. And if you want to do everything in the game, there's actually a decent bit of content in it, so again, for this price, I think it's a great pickup. Next up, Order 1886, 50% off for $9.99. Look, I can't help but laugh whenever I recommend this game because there's usually a couple people in the comments section that give me a lot of flack for recommending this game. Look, I picked this game up in February of 2015 when it was $60, and yes, I got absolutely robbed at that price point, but you're paying $9.99 now, you're not getting robbed. I also do question why this game isn't on PlayStation Plus Extra. It's a Sony-published title, so they have the rights to it. I'm just surprised that it hasn't been added there, but whatever the case may be, this is a solid third-person title that visually, it is still stunning. Yes, in 2015, it was like groundbreaking, and people were just taken aback with how good the game looks, but from even now, 8 years later, it's 8.5 years later, my goodness, we're getting old, but it still looks fantastic. There's a great narrative attached here, and the world of Order 1886 I just think is so fascinating. It's unfortunate that with the ending of this game, clearly they were looking to make this into a franchise, and really, the IP of the Order only gets set up in the Order 1886, and because of the reception of this game, it ultimately doesn't pan out, and you don't get to see where this would go, and I don't think we're ever gonna see that. This is like one of those IPs that's not at the level of Days Gone in the sense that, you know, the Days Gone fans are just wild. The Order 1886 fans, they can kind of admit defeat, and they're just like, you know what, I understand why it's not gonna be an IP to stick around, but it's still unfortunate because there was so much possibilities with this IP, which is such a bummer that we're never gonna see it, you know, fleshed out or anything like that. The gameplay itself is very standard cover-based third-person stuff, so you know, that's nothing to write home about, but easy platinum trophy as well if you're into that. $9.99 again, I think is a good price. Wolf Among Us, 60% off for $5.99. Somebody actually called me out in the under $10 video for not mentioning this, or at least in one of our videos we recently did. I saw that comment and I was like, bro, we're getting to it, don't worry. Yes, Wolf Among Us is tremendous. It's, when you look at the Telltale titles, I often say Wolf Among Us, Walking Dead Season 1, 1A, 1B. You can throw Walking Dead Season 2 in the mix as well. We'll have to see how Wolf Among Us does pan out with Season 2. Hopefully that's out out sometime in 2024, I would imagine. But Wolf Among Us was awesome. Obviously, a great main character and really at the helm of the story. A little bit more of a mature Telltale experience, although Walking Dead definitely had its mature tones, but Wolf Among Us is excellent. Strong recommendation on this one. I just loved it, and at $5.99, it's great. Wolf Among Us Season 2 is shaping up to be really solid, so hopefully that turns out well. Tales of Zestria, 90% off for $5.99. Look, this is probably the weakest Tales of game in the entire franchise. Like, I don't think that's too big of a stretch. However, that doesn't say that much about Tales of, because Zestria is still a pretty decent game, and the Tales of games are just so consistent. There's some, like, Symphonia Dawn of the New World that's probably worse than Zestria now that I think about it, but Zestria is an okay game. There are some narrative decisions that are made that I really disagree with, and the cast of characters is certainly one of the weaker ones. Like, if you compare Zestria's cast to a Vesperia, or even an Abyss, it's just not even close, but you know, it's still a decent JRPG, and if you've exhausted all the other Tales of games, Zestria is a decent pickup, and I would still say at this price point, $6, it's a good buy. XCOM 2 The Collection, 90% off for $9.99. I mean, this includes XCOM 2 War of the Chosen and a bunch of other DLC. The issue with XCOM 2 definitely does arise from a technical standpoint. It has its shortcomings there, but still, it is a fantastic game, and I'm not big on tactics games, but XCOM Enemy Unknown was the one that really got me into this franchise, and XCOM 2, I feel like, built upon it. It can get pretty challenging, but it is incredibly rewarding as well. Check it out. I think you guys are going to enjoy that one. Deus Ex Mankind Divided Digital Deluxe Edition, $6.74. This includes Mankind Divided, the Season Pass, extra in-game mission, and the Covert Agent Pack. Mankind Divided, in my opinion, is not as strong as Human Revolution from a narrative standpoint. However, I do feel like it builds from Human Revolution from a gameplay standpoint. Still a solid action RPG, still a very well-designed world, and I love the aesthetic and the setting of the game. Hopefully we do get, you know, some sort of new Deus Ex game. It looks like there's something in development early on. I imagine we'll get that at 2037 or something like that by the time the world is like Deus Ex, but I digress. Mankind Divided is a pretty solid game, and at $6.74, definitely a good buy. Whoever though has the rights to Deus Ex at this point, can we get a remaster of Human Revolution with Missing Link? Like, do you guys like to print money? Because that would print money. So, yeah, get on that, whoever has the rights to that. Valkyria Chronicles 4, 80% off for $5.99. This is a fantastic deal, and I am a guy that just sings the praise of Valkyria Chronicles and Valkyria Chronicles 4. Unfortunately, VC2 only on the PSP. VC3 is only on the PSP as well, but it doesn't even have a localization. So those two games are kind of lost in the ether, so it is what it is. Valkyria Chronicles 4, I think, is really solid. Great art style, a decent bit of content. Obviously, it's told in an interesting way through the storybook, much like VC1, but great story, great cast of characters, and for $6, this is a great deal, so definitely check that out. Next up, we got Zone of the Enders, the second one, or Mars, $5.99. Look, we talk about mech games all the time and how we need more of them. Obviously, we just had the release of Armored Core 6, and obviously that game is friggin' awesome. So if you have the $60 to spend, go buy Armored Core 6 because that game is tremendous. However, no, a lot of you guys ain't trying to drop $60, so $6 for Zone of the Enders is a good pickup. A remake of a PS2 title, you know, visually shows its age, but I still think it's a solid game from the aesthetics and the soundtrack and the gameplay. You know, $6 is the perfect price for it. Next up, Mark of the Ninja Remastered, $8.99 on this. An awesome action stealth title. I think the visual style is great. This version has some DLC included, a refined visual, upgraded visuals, I should say. And yeah, for $8.99, it's kind of pricey for the style of game that it is, but I still think it's great, and I would strongly recommend it. If you're into action stealth games, you'll enjoy that. And lastly, for those of you that, you know, need Final Fantasy Tactics like you need water, Felseal Arbiter's Mark, 75% off for $7.49, plus members will have it at $5.99. This is very much akin to a Final Fantasy Tactics, turn-based tactical RPG, fantasy world. It's really, really well designed, and guess what? The crying ain't gonna bring Final Fantasy Tactics, so get Felseal Arbiter's Mark. It's great. Hopefully, the, what's it called? We do get a Final Fantasy Tactics HD remaster or something like that in the near future, and I do think we will, probably in the fall. But yeah, this will be a nice one to go through until then. But that'll do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals available right now. Links to all of these in the description box down below. As always, thank you for watching. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.